What's going on, guys? It is DigiWatchTCG coming to you with another deck profile. Now, I'm really excited to be giving you my Metalgarurumon X deck profile at the beginning of this format. If you don't know what I'm doing right now, I'm actually building decks in the beginning of the format, filming what I made and my reasoning for it, and then with a little bit of pre-testing I've done with these decks. And then toward the end of the format, which is going to probably be about mid-September, I'm going to be reposting these deck profiles as well as with some changes and why I made some changes to kind of give you an idea of what the meta, I guess, what I did to kind of adapt to the meta. Before we begin, remember to like, subscribe, leave your thoughts below on what you'd like to see next. Now, I will say before we begin that this video or this deck is really strong, and there are many variations of this deck, so definitely want to experiment with this deck and see what works for you. I just find that this is the ratio that works for me. I will say that the focus of this deck is speed and getting your pieces as soon as you can, as well as being able to buff your guys up very, very strong, fast, in order to kind of OTK your opponent within like maybe 3 to 4 turns. So starting with our eggs, we're playing 1 Demi-Vmon and 4 of the Sunomon. So like I said before, we're trying to buff off our Digimon, and this is the eggs that are pretty standard with most builds. Some decide to cut the Demi V. I'm not fully convinced that we need to, although I do understand that this is more consistent if you do cut it, so you can play either with or without. But basically, they all have the similar effect. If it has Garurumon in its name or Omnimon in its name, gain 1000 DP. If you have 8 or more cards in your hand, gain 1000 DP on your turn only. You're trying to buff up your Digimon when you get to your level 5s and level 6s, so they survive against your opponent's Digimon. Just being able to swing over many big boys and survive. So that is why we are playing this egg ratio. So then we are playing the rookies. We are going to be playing pretty much all Gabumons except for a few cards, and we are playing 4 copies of the starter deck 8 Gabumon. This is a very good card in my opinion, and this is when you have 8 or more cards in your hand. This Digimon on all turns gets 1000 DP. Now that's a very important effect. It's all turns, so even on your opponent's turn, you can have Digimon that they can't swing over because it gets the additional boost from Gabumon. This card is just so good, and I do think 4 right now is the right ratio, although I know that some other people will say that playing this at 3 and playing some other cards at 4 might be better. But right now I'm very convinced that this is the right ratio. I pull them when I need to, and that's the important thing, is putting this in raising and then just being able to kind of digivolve and play your searchers when you need to. Going into our other Gabumons, we are playing 3 copies of the Gabumon from BT5. This is the Gabumon that, over here, that when you play it, you get an Omnimon and you get a Garurumon in its name to your hand. I do like it at 3. I think that I don't like to see this too often. I mean, Searcher early on you do want to get it, but the DP increase is more important in my opinion. I'm going to put a few of these cards off to the side because I'm going to show you a combo later with how you're supposed to essentially play the deck at its best. So that I'm going to just put that off to the side for now. We are playing 4 copies of the Gabumon X Antibody. And so this is why I'm playing this at 3, is because you play this at 4, and this gets you a Garurumon and an X Antibody option card, as well as a Omnimon or a Garurumon card. And this card can digivolve for free onto your Gabumon. Honestly, this is the hardest choice in this deck, is whether to digivolve on top of the raising Digimon or if you're putting this card on the in play Digimon, because you will get the effect to add more earlier on. And so usually what I like to do is, if it's early in the game, I'll hard play this or digivolve on top of the Gabumon, because playing this card, you're going to get 1 to 2 pieces of your puzzle, and then with Gabumon X Antibody, you're getting your option cards as well. So it kind of speeds up your hand size, which is what you need to get to 8 for your in raising one. So this one is the one I think you want to play more often on a Digimon that's currently in play, so you get more out of it. But if this is your only option, sometimes you can just put in raising and raising. It's not a huge disappointment. But again, this is important for the combo, so I'm going to put this off to the side. Going into our level 4s, I'm going to show you, we have, oh sorry, I did forget one, Madoki. So this is the tech I'm playing in the deck. Madoki over here, really good card in my opinion in this format. There are so many times that I actually think that Madoki wins you the match just because they can't gain memory against mirror matches, against Imperial Jamon, and against like so many cards. This card just is bonkers. I really think that this card is what wins you games in this format. So that's why I'm playing two, just stopping your opponent from gaining memory. It's very, very good against a lot of the different decks, especially since sometimes like you will just need this to stop like what's called Alphamon or Yukin from gaining that extra memory back if it doesn't delete it. And also keep in mind that like stuff like that will delete the highest Digimon. So if you just hard play this and then have like a Digimon like a level 5 or 6 on the field, they will have to usually try to get over the level 5 or level 6, and just usually just keeping this on the field just stops your opponent. But yeah, we're playing 2 copies of that. Now going to level 5s, we're playing 3 copies of the promo Garurumon. So this is a good early game card. You do want to see this early on, and even if you brick and you don't pull any of your rookies, this is still a really good card to see early on because it's only 4 cost. So you could just hard play it if you absolutely had to, and just go right into your X Antibody forms and your Garurumons, which you're playing in this deck. To get the extra draws a little earlier on. There was a game in today, and by the way, I went to a locals 3-round local, and I went undefeated with this deck. But basically, you could play this card and then just, yeah, there was one game that I just literally played this, Digivolved into Garurumon, swung twice, drew 2. Even though Garurumon was deleted on the second attack, I got extra draws off of it. It was fine. We are playing 3 copies of the Garurumon from BT5. This is also a very important strategy for late game. So this is more your early game Garurumon. This is more your late game Garurumon. The Garurumon over here gets you the draws to get to 8. This one is the one that buffs up. So you Digivolve on top. Usually, actually, in all fairness, I Digivolve this one on top of my Raising Digimon. So I won't ever really get the memory off unless I'm needing to get an extra draw or just trying to build up and get more like draws or whatever. But basically, Garurumon is just really good in this deck, giving you another 1000 DP on all turns again. When you have this with Garurumon in its name. Sorry, I'm blanking on a little bit of this. It's late. 4 copies of the Garurumon X Antibody. This is honestly the heart and soul of the deck, in my opinion. This card is just so good, in my opinion. Digivolve on top for free onto any Garurumon, but also, if it were to die in battle, whether against one of your opponent's Digimon or something in their security, you can actually take 2 cards out of the Digivolution sources with the same level and keep it so that it survives. That's really why you're playing this deck, and this is why the deck is a high level deck. I am going to put a few of these cards off to the side right now just to kind of show you the combo toward the end of the video. So this is our level 4s over here. Alright, so that is our level 4 lineup. Level 5s, we are doing 4 Garurumons. These are the promos from BT1, or top box toppers from BT1. They're very hard to find, honestly. I'm lucky I got mine as early as I did. But being able to have a Garurumon underneath it and swing at your opponent's security is very, very important in this deck. Basically, your goal for this card is to do multiple checks and have it survive because you've boosted it up for all the other cards, which again I'll get to when I go over the cards here. But basically, you attack, you unsuspend, and then as an inherited, if you have 8 or more cards in your hand, you get security +1 on your turn. So this card is absolutely a must of 4 if you're playing the deck. Playing 1 copy of Garurumon Sagittarius mode, basically has the same exact inherited effect as the Garurumon X Antibody. Additionally, it can Digivolve from a Garurumon for free, and when you Digivolve, you can bounce 2 level 3s to your opponent's hand. Also, its name is considered Garurumon Garurumon all the time. So this is the card you definitely want to play, at least a one of, in my opinion, in this deck. Although you can technically play the next card I'm going to show you at 4 instead of 3. To make the deck a little bit more consistent, and that is the Garurumon X Antibody. So this one over here is a really good card. I actually didn't realize how good this card actually is. If you have an first off, if you Digivolve, you can Digivolve for free over Garurumon. That means 5 of these cards are going to be able to Digivolve on top. Additionally, it gains additional effects based on what you have underneath it. So if you have a Garurumon, or if you have the the X antibody option card underneath it, you can bounce a level 4 or lower from your opponent's hand side of the field back to their hand, and then when you Digivolve on top of Garurumon, it unsuspends. You're doing this so that you get the additional security attacks from Garurumon, so you can essentially do like an OTK, again, like an OTK to your opponent. Where are we going now? We're going to our level 6s. Sorry, it's been a long day, guys. This is a profile I'm making at the end of the day. We are playing 2 copies of the Metalgarurumon from EX1. This one is really bonkers when you pull it off, but it's not necessary for how to win a game against your opponent. But basically, you Digivolve into this to gain back memory, to keep it your turn. If you are able to raise in your in raising area, I should say, your Garurumon and nothing else, then essentially this card is just cherries essentially on top. But it does win you games, I will say that. Just be getting this out. But usually you want to swing with Garurumon, Digivolve into Metalgarurumon. After that, gain back memory, and then go into your boss monster, which I'm going to show you in a second. But the one, this is a tech card. I am technically playing this deck, and that is the Metalgarurumon from BT1. Now, this has a really good effect, and sometimes this is actually very relevant because of how certain cards work in this format and certain tech cards different players are playing. So Metalgarurumon says when you swing with it or when you attack with it, you can play a level 4 or lower from underneath it, from its sources. So basically, you Metalgarurumon, you play one of these cards out from underneath it, and basically you would be playing the Garurumon from BT1 that unsuspends it in a normal Metalgarurumon build, but instead with this version of the deck, you just play out any of your cards, whether you're getting a Searcher out, you get the on-play effect, or a level 4 out of there as well. It's just a very good card, and the reason why I'm putting this in here is against Death X, because I think that putting this card out, your opponent will Digivolve one of your Digimon, and then delete the Digimon, everything that's level 4. But if they have something out and it's your turn, and you bring this out and you swing at their security, at the end of your turn, their effect usually deletes the lowest level Digimon or lowest play cost Digimon, and that would be the one that you play out from underneath them. So it's a way of kind of avoiding the deletion from Metalgarurumon and kind of allowing you at least a turn to try to get over his cards or their cards. So that is our regular 6 lineup, but we do have 3 of the Metalgarurumon X here. And this card is bonkers as well. Digivolve for 1 on top of a Metalgarurumon. When you unsuspend it, you can bounce the lowest level Digimon to your opponent's from your opponent's side of the field to their hand, and then of course you can it gains blocker when you Digivolve. So those are the things it has over here. Really good card here. I really do like it. And then our level 7s, we are playing 2. We are playing 1 Omnimon for a game. That's the reason why, but there is another actual reason I'm playing it. And then Omnimon X Antibody over here as well. So the reason why we are playing these 2 over here is basically this one stops you if you're fell behind somewhere and you didn't get your pieces you wanted, and your opponent's somehow going to be able to win because you make such a huge stack on your side of the field. This will hopefully be able to keep you in the game for at least 1 turn, or at least be able to get rid of their problem cards, because on attack, this one over here is able to delete the highest highest play cost, I think it is. Yeah. Higher. Delete one of your opponent's Digimon DP less than or equal to this one. So the only one this doesn't necessarily work against alone specifically would be Alphamon. However, remember all those effects underneath it that boost up, those are all turns that affect Omnimons as well. This is an Omnimon, so it will technically be higher than 15. So that's something to keep in mind as well. Now, additionally, you can Digivolve on top of Omnimon for 3. But sometimes you may want to consider Omnimon on the field for this reason. So I'll get to that when we build up our stack over here. Speaking of, let me put this over here because we are almost to that point. We are almost there, boys and girls. Now, in terms of our tamers, we are playing 3 Cool Boys. And this is a card you want to see early in the game, especially being able to choke your opponent at 2 sometimes is really good, but also getting to see your cards and being able to digivolve and gain memory and draws is very relevant for this deck to succeed. We are playing 2 heroes because hero is probably the best card in this deck. Honestly, again, you are swinging with your level 5s, which are sometimes not very strong, and when you do, hero can activate and give it 2,000 additional DP. Having 2 of them just means you're going to win the game, essentially, if you have both of them on the field, but you only need 1 to really make it work. So this is interchangeable with Davis, in my opinion. I think Hero is really needed for this deck to win, but if you're worried about searches and you're worried about getting to your pieces a little earlier, you can always tech this out for the Davis. But I feel like you do a lot of searching anyway. So that is our tamers here. We're gonna put one of these to the side to show you the full. Like I would say this is the combo that you're gonna see basically pretty late game, but the one that kind of kills everything on your opponent's side of the field. We're playing 2 of the blue memory boost because this card is your consistency booster, no pun intended, but it gets you your pieces, gets you your memory. If they don't block it, then you're able to just go off. We are playing one of the most broken card in the game, Ice Wall. Why? Because if they hit the security, it's great. And then we're playing 3 copies of X Antibody. So really interesting about this card. I didn't realize it until I started playing the deck more and more. X Antibody at 3 is just bonkers. It is Hammer Spark in security. That is what you want it to be. That's the reason why Hammer Spark does not need to necessarily be played in this deck. Yes, on your turn, you'll maybe go to 4 if you need to, but normally it's never much of a problem. You have Cool Boys for that. This card in security, though, acts as a Hammer Spark, so you don't really need to play Hammer Sparks in this deck, although of course you could. You can even tech in 1 copy of it if you really wanted to, but this adds to hand, which again helps you get to your hand size a little bit quicker. Also, for consistency, if you play the Cool Boys, if you play the Gabumon X's, it'll get you this to your hand a little quicker as well. I definitely think 3 is the right ratio number here. So now that we've went through the entire deck, I want to show the combo and how you're supposed to play it. So I have everything here, and we're going to go into what the field should look like at the point that you are about to swing at your opponent's security. I am going to be facing this way, so I do apologize if it's a little confusing on what you're looking at. So let's say at this point in the game, you have a hero on the field, and you have a Cool Boy on the field. Hopefully you got these guys out a little earlier and your opponent wasn't playing Black or Greymon, so they're safe. In your hand, or in your raising, you should possibly have the Gabumon X Antibody, and then this is depending on when it is that you're playing these cards, either early game with the Garurumon or late game with the Garurumon X, or sorry, the Garurumon here. So let's assume that this is just like on the field. Maybe your opponent's just leaving this out. Well, I'm just going to assume it's there, but let's just assume that you go into this Garurumon over here. You go into your Garurumon X for free. Again, all these are fine. I went to Where Garurumon. Something over here I did forget to mention is that Where Garurumon's effect, and as well as the other Garurumon, the BT5 Garurumon, only get their effects off if you have a Garurumon in their stacks. So make sure you're not just putting X antibodies underneath it. So this is the field. You have 8 cards in hand, including cards that you have more than 8. I should say you have more than 8 cards in hand. You have 9 cards in hand. 9 cards in hand makes you win this game. So what you're going to do is you're going to push this out to the field. Your opponent has 5 security right now. So let's just use 5 cards as their security, right? And please, I'm trying to make shift, no editing on this video. I'm just trying to show what it looks like on their side of the field. So let's say there are 5 cards over here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. Cool? Cool. Got it. This is the cards that hopefully you have in your hand at this point. You're going to swing the first time with the Digimon, at this point, because you have 8 or more cards in your hand, all these effects are going to trigger 1,000, 2,000, 3,000. Get added to the Weregurumon's 6,000, making it 9,000. Additionally, where Hero will activate when you declare the attack, making it 11,000. So you're going to be able to swing at your opponent for 11,000 on one check. Alright? On that declaration, his effect will trigger and let you unsuspend. So it comes out unsuspended. Great. You've done one check to their security. One down. 4 more to go. Now, I'm just going to throw cards on the side here, so please try not to get confused. I know. You have 9 cards in hand, so you're going to play the X antibody option card underneath now. This is the second check. You will attack again. Again, you've gained 2,000 this turn, so this is going to have the 2,000 regardless of what you digivolve on top of. So on the declaration of attack, I apologize. I made one small boo-boo. What you can do. Sorry, I'm going to restart one thing of this. You have this in hand. I just wanted to showcase the entire line, so I do apologize for this small little backup. Let's say, assume that you swung the first time, you unsuspend, everything's good, you hit the first check. On this, before you do that, you're going to digivolve into Weregurumun Sag mode for free. This is suspended, and the Cool Boy wouldn't activate because it's not X antibody. But you do still get to activate the effects, bounce some cards to their hands if needed. Also, you'll have a secondary effect to along with the Gurumon X. Now you're going to put in the X antibody option card underneath it, and you're going to declare the attack with this card. Again, it gains that extra 1,000, so it'll actually at 12,000 when you declare the attack. But we're actually going to digivolve on declaration into your X antibody form of Weregurumun X antibody, and on declaration and on digivolve, he'll unsuspend. Now you have an 8K, so which means he's going to be at 13 when he makes that check. Also, because you have 8 cards in hand, security +1 will not trigger. So we're going to hit 2 cards out of their cards. And now let's say the first or the second check is like something that's very strong, you can't get over it. Okay, well, you can take out the Gabumons over here, or the Gurumons, or whatever else you need to do to keep it alive. But in this case, let's just be fair. Let's take the level 3s out. So we're going to trash these 2. Put them over here just for simplicity's sake. And you're going to hit 2 cards. So you hit 2 cards in their security. They have 2 left. You've hit 3 so far. You're going to swing again. Oh, I do apologize. There was one more thing. You will tap Cool Boy. Go to 4 on yourself. So let's just put a 4 here. You have 4 memory. Because you digivolved in the same card and you drew a card. So now you are at 9 or 10 cards again. And so you are going to swing again. Do 2 more checks with Weregurumun. So now you hit this one. You hit this one. Sure. Alright, well, you've cleared all cards in their security. What do you do now? Well, you haven't really spent anything and you're at 4. You can digivolve into your Metalgarurumon. And this Metalgarurumon will let you gain back memory for every 4 cards in your hand. So that will potentially, so let's say you went to 0 and then you gain 2 memory back. So now I'll put myself at 2. And you're at 2 memory. Then you're going to digivolve into, for 1, Metalgarurumon X, which on Digivolution will unsuspend, putting you at 1 memory. And you'll be able to swing again to end the game. Now, let's say somehow they were able to block one of those attacks, and or something happened where they recovered 1 and they have 1 more left. Well, that's why you play the Blitz Omni in game, because you are going to just blitz them for game if you need to. Let's say somehow they had 2 in their security left, and you're playing a slow deck like yellow or something like that. Well, again, this can't be. This is going to be very strong, because right now this is at 14,000. This is at 15,000. 15,000. And if it would be deleted by effects, if it would be bounce to hand, or anything like that, you can take you could trash a level 6 from underneath it. So you could take this Metalgarurumon X antibody, put it to the trash, be fine with it. And additionally, if it really came down to it and you had a pass turn, you can Digivolve into Omnimon X antibody for the next turn. Or if you were worried that you cannot do anything right now, you can Digivolve into this and negate the attack. Or because this gains blocker this turn and all gained effects kind of transfer up this chain, is you could do Omnimon and maybe you are going to be able to gain the blocker for that turn. So now you just unsuspend, you don't attack their security, you are 15,000 blocker that has the ability to take 2 sources off to avoid battle, as well as trash 1 level 6 card from underneath to avoid getting deleted. Again, the only thing that would probably kill this would probably be a DP reduction effect. But if you are playing yellow, what I would recommend if that was the case would be trashing the level 5s instead of the level 3s. I don't know where I put the 3s right now, but if I did, then essentially you can go and you can put the one that has the all turns effect back in there, so it's at 16,000, so it wouldn't be deleted by DP reduction. Like if they played a Wyvern's Rex, for example. I know this was a little messy at the end, but I hope it helped anyone who is trying to play this deck. I really love this deck. I'm actually mixed between playing this and another deck that I'm going to be taking to regionals this weekend. So I'm looking to see what I'm going to stick with as my main deck for the rest of the format. Now, in terms of cards that you may want to consider playing instead of the cards over here, we have Matt and Sora. This is a tech choice of mine. In my opinion, it is a very good card. It's just I don't know where I would put it right now. It is a blue. It gives you extra memory to play with. You don't really need 2 heroes, honestly, in the deck, but it is consistency that we're looking for. So you could play this one here at 2, or you can cut 1 and play the Matt and Sora. Additionally, you can play Offensive Plugin A as an option card. This gives your Digimon an additional security check, and if you have a cool boy, that meets the condition of having a Tamer in play to be able to play this card regardless of what the color is. So that would give your Garurumon an additional attack every attack it does. Additionally, since I am playing red Tamers in this build, 2 Delicate Plan would be good in this deck as well, just to be able to do multiple checks and not have to worry about option cards. This I might technically put in at 1 or 2 if I can find room, in order to get rid of stop players that are playing security control, because this deck definitely has a hard time against security control. You can play Hammer Spark. Hammer Spark, gain 1 memory, that's what it does. And you could probably cut down on the X antibody if you really wanted to. Metal Storm as another option as well. Metal Storm being able to bounce back a level 6 or lower and unsuspend your any Garurumon on the field. So that could potentially be a card that you want to play. Howling Crusher as another one, because a lot of these decks in this format like to stack their make big stacks. Being able to just say no and just take everything out from underneath it is actually somewhat, it somewhat does kind of help and possibly allow you to win the game. And then lastly, as an alternative, if you don't want to play Madoki or you want to make it a little bit more consistent, you can play a few copies of the Gabumon from EX1. This is the one that when you declare an attack, you can look at the top 3 cards of your deck, add a Tamer, and a Gabumon from your deck to your hand. So basically, this is a good card, number 1, to increase your hand size, and additionally, it does get you another body for next turn to be able to Digivolve on top of, Digivolve into your Raising, or just hard play. I think these are all valuable choices that you might want to play. You can also play other cards too, like removal options like Gaia Force and stuff like that, but it is a little less consistent, and you may end up bricking with it if you don't have a Tamer on field. With that said, those are my choices. Those are my thoughts for this deck. I hope this video was definitely a little longer than my other ones. I just want to show this combo because I am really excited for this deck, and I love these decks that are super aggressive and super speedy. With that said, please like, subscribe, leave your thoughts below, and what you'd like to see next. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.